Hello everyone, welcome back to Chemical Engineering and Aspen channel. As you know, these days we are focusing on the subject of heat transfer operations. So in this regard, we are bringing the lecture number 17 for our valuable viewers. And today's lecture is basically related to solving another numerical problem related to the heat exchanger. And today's example will be related to the heating of glycerin in a multi-pass heat exchanger. In our previous videos or previous two videos actually, in which we solved example 1 and example 2, we have just taken a simple example of a single shell and tube heat exchanger and we did not specify any passes arrangement in it. But in today's video, we will involve the multiple passes of shell side and tube side in our today's video and we will solve the numerical. So before starting the video, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell icon to get all updates related to this channel. So this is the problem statement for today's activity that a two shell and four tube pass heat exchanger is used to heat glycerin from 20 to 50 degrees centigrade. So this is the cold stream for which the temperature needs to be increased from 20 to 50 degrees centigrade. And what is the hot stream? By hot water, which enters the tubes at 80 degrees centigrade and leaves at 40 degrees centigrade. So there are two media, hot water and glycerin. Hot water is the hot stream, glycerin is the cold stream. The inlet temperature of hot water is 80 while the outlet temperature is 40 degrees centigrade. For glycerin 20 to 50 degrees centigrade. And we have been given the information about the tube that it is thin walled and the diameter is 2 centimeters. The total length of the tube in the heat exchanger is 60 meters. The convection heat transfer coefficient is 25 watt per square meter per Kelvin. On the glycerin, which is the shell side, glycerin is in shell side while the hot water is in tube side. And 160 watt per square meter per Kelvin on the water tube side. Now we have to determine two things over here or two systems. Determine the rate of heat transfer in heat exchanger. Number one, without any fouling. That first case is to find out the value of Q, but we do not have to consider any fouling over here. And then we have to consider the fouling factor of 0.0006 square meter Kelvin per watt that occurs on the outer surface of the tube. So this is the problem statement and we will be solving the two cases. The case number one will be without fouling. Case number two will be with fouling. So first thing is to take the assumptions for this numerical. This is the pictorial representation of two shell and four tube passes that the cold glycerin is entering from here, and this is first shell pass and this is the second shell pass and leaves out at 50 degrees centigrade. The water that is going to the tube side is going to the four tube passes. This is the first pass, then this is the second pass, then this is the third pass and then fourth pass and goes out at 40 degrees centigrade. First assumption is that the steady state operation conditions exist. Second is that the heat exchanger is well insulated, so there is no heat loss or leak to the environment or surroundings. The changes in kinetic and potential energies of fluid streams are negligible. The heat transfer coefficients and fouling factors are constant and uniform. These won't change. And the thermal resistance of the inner tube is negligible since the tube is thin-walled and highly conductive. So these are the five assumptions which we will be taking for solving this numerical, or you can say to simplify our problem. So first thing is to calculate the LMTD, and you see LMTD formula is delta T1 minus delta T2 divided by natural log of delta T1 divided by delta T2. Accordingly, we know delta T1 is TH in minus TC out. So the hot stream inlet temperature is 80 degrees centigrade, cold stream outlet temperature is 50 degrees centigrade, delta T1 comes out to be 30. Delta T2 is TH out minus TC in. So TH out is 40 degrees centigrade. The hot stream goes out at 40 degrees centigrade while the cold stream comes in at 20 degrees centigrade. Accordingly, delta T2 is 20. Substituting the values, we get delta T as 24.7 degrees centigrade. So this is the first task. Now we know Q is equal to UAF delta T LM, which is the log mean temperature difference. Now we know the value of U, which is given in the problem statement. We know the value of delta T. Now we want to know the value of A. So accordingly, A of S is equal to pi dl. The diameter is given as 2 centimeter or 0.02 meter. The total length of the tubes is 60 meter. So accordingly, the surface area, heat transfer surface area is 3.77 square meter. So we know U, we know A, we know delta T, and now we want to know the value of F to proceed further. But in this slide or in this part, we were interested in calculating the LMTD and subsequently the surface area. So the first step is to calculate the Q without fouling. To find out the value of this F, we have to go to the two equations, which is P and R. Now the P is T2 minus T1 divided by capital T1 minus T1. That capital T1 is the cold stream inlet temperature, which is 20 degrees centigrade. That small T1 is the hot stream inlet temperature, which is 80 degrees centigrade. And here it will be 80. And the small T2 is the hot stream outlet temperature, which is 40. Accordingly, P comes out to be 0.67. For R, it is capital T1 minus capital T2. Capital T1 represents the cold stream inlet temperature, which is 20, and outlet temperature, which is 50, divided by T2 minus T1. So small t represents the hot side, 2 represents outlet, so accordingly 40 minus 80, and that comes out to be 0.75. Now look at this graph. On x-axis, P is given. These lines represents the R value, and accordingly we get the correction factor, which is F. So 0.67 correspondingly 0.67, and if you substitute the value of R from here, we get the answer as 0.9. If you just take the copy pencil, you will get your required answer. Accordingly, we get the value of F as 0.91. Now, in case of no fouling, the overall heat transfer coefficient U is equal to 1 over Hi, which is the inside heat transfer coefficient, plus 1 over H naught, which is the outside heat transfer coefficient. The values are 160 for Hi, for H naught, it is 25. So accordingly, the answer will be 21.6 watt per square meter per Kelvin. So now we know the value of U, we know the value of F, we know the value of delta T, we know the value of A. So accordingly, substituting all the values, U is 21.6, area is 3.77, correction factor is 0.91, and the LMTD is 24.7. So accordingly, the answer comes out to be 1830 watt or 1.83 kilowatt. So that is the amount of heat which is transferred once we are not considering any fouling. But what will happen once there is a fouling? For this, we have to obviously move to our step 2. In this part, we have to incorporate the fouling factor over here. How we can incorporate? By incorporating in the U equation an additional parameter, which is R of F. So this R of F value is 0.0006. We get the revised value of U as 21.3. Again, substituting the value 21.3 into 3.77 into 0.91 into 24.7. This is LMTD, this is correction factor, this is surface area, and this is U. So accordingly, the answer will be 1.805 kilowatt or 1805 kilowatt. So you can see that with fouling introduction, the heat transfer rate is decreased by 25 watt. If we go to the discussion, note that the rate of heat transfer decreases as a result of fouling, as expected, because fouling will hinder the heat transfer rate. But this decrease is not dramatic, or there is no significant amount of decrease because of the relatively low convection heat transfer coefficients involved. This is not true for all cases. Obviously, fouling has somewhat a significant difference in some cases, or in some cases there is a minimal effect. But again, even if there is small fouling or larger fouling, it will affect the rate of heat transfer, or it will decrease the rate of heat transfer. So this was the objective of today's activity, guide you regarding the fouling systems and how these affect the rate of heat transfer. So I hope you have understood all the aspects of this lecture. If you have any queries, feedback, suggestion, please provide it in the comment box and I would be happy to answer it. That's it from today's lecture. Thank you so much. Please do watch, like, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Also click on the bell icon to get all updates related to this channel. Till then, it's goodbye. Stay tuned for more exciting videos on this channel.